In this video, we are going to see how we can solve trigonometric equations, and we are going to solve them in the interval of 0 and 2 pi. The variable here is x. It could also be theta. So let's start with the first one. So I just want you to think of it just like any algebraic equation, except that we have to get the ergo at the end. So here, I'm going to combine the like terms. So I'm going to add cosine of x. From the left hand, I'm going to add cosine of x to both sides. And when I do that, I'm going to get cosine 2 cosine of x plus square root of 3 is equals to 0. Then I'm going to subtract square root of 3. I do that on both sides. So that gives me 2 cosine of x is equals to negative square root of 3 over 2. Now when I see this, this tells me I could use the unit circle. But I don't just like using the unit circle because I don't like to memorize it, and all I need to know are the special triangles. So I'm going to draw a special triangle here, and I know this is a 30, 60, 90, so I'm going to draw it right here. I'm just going to sketch it here, and this is going to be 1, this is going to be square root of 3, so this is 60 degrees. This is 30 degrees, and this is going to be 2. I just have to remember the relationship. So now I need an angle whose cosine is square root of 3 over 2. So, but I also need to remember it's negative. But I'm going to forget about the negative part of it and just focus on the angle whose cosine is square root of 3 over 2. So to do that, I just come here to my triangle, and I just look at, so this is, cosine is adjacent of hypotenuse, so I see it has to be adjacent, which is square root of 3 over hypotenuse, so it has to be 30 degrees. So I go back here and select and say, and I'm going to write cosine inverse of square root of 3 over 2 is equals to 30 degrees. Okay, is equals to 30 degrees. Then something else I need to remember. I need to remember that this is negative. So what does that mean? I have to remember that all students take calculus. And this is going to help me to know in which quadrant my angle is going to be. So because it is negative, I know cosine is negative in the second and third quadrant. So what I have here, 30 degrees, is a reference angle in that quadrant. So in quadrant 2, the answer is going to be 180 degrees minus 30 degrees, which is equals to 150 degrees. And in quadrant 3, my answer is going to be, remember in quadrant 3, we add the reference angle, so it's going to be 180 plus 30 degrees. So we get 210 degrees. And all I have to do now, so those are my answers. And remember, I could also write them in terms of radians. Remember, the 30 degrees I got here is the same as pi over 6. And this is 30 times 5, so this is the same as 5 pi over 6. And this one is 210, which is the same as 30 times 7. So it's going to be 7 pi over 6. And that is the answer. I'm just going to highlight my answer right there. So that let me just do it again. So my answer is right. My answer is right there. Okay. So now let me go to the problem on the other side, and this one I'm just going to look at what I have. So I'm going to move the 3 over to the other side. So I have 4 sine squared is equals sine squared theta. Sine squared theta is equals to 3. And then I'm going to divide by 4. So sine squared theta is equals to 3 over 4. Then I'm going to find the square root of both sides. So sine theta is equals to plus or minus square root of 3 over 4. Square root of 3 over 4. And remember, this is the same as minus square root of 3. Square root of 4 is, remember, plus or minus. Square root of 4 is 2. So now I see I could still use my triangle here to find the answer. So, and what I see here is it's plus or minus. So that means my angle is going to be, remember all students take calculus. That means because it is positive and negative, it's going to be in all 4 quadrants. So that what that means is that sine inverse of, remember I'll just start with the positive one, square root of 3 over 2. I'm doing sine this time. I'll go back to my my special triangle right here, and then I can see sine, an angle whose sine is square root of 3 over 2 has to be 60 degrees opposite over hypotenuse. So this has to be 60 degrees. So it's going to be 60 degrees. And 60 degrees is the same as pi over 3. And how do I know that? Because I know 180 is pi. So this pi over 3. So I know this is my reference angle. And I know my angle, my solution is in all 4 quadrants. So I'll start by writing it in degrees. So it's going to be 60 degrees in quadrant 1. Quadrant 2 is going to be 120 degrees. Quadrant 3 is going to be 180 plus 60, 240 degrees. And in quadrant 4, it's going to be 360 minus 60, which is equal to 300 degrees. And see, now to convert it to radians, I know this is pi over 3. See, this is 120, which is, I multiply this by 2 pi over 3. I know the next one, I need to multiply 60 by 4. So 4 pi over 3. And then this one, I multiply by 5. So 5 pi over 3. And there is my solution. So all those angles, that's how to solve it.